When Samuel stepped out of Stansted Airport, the first thing that hit him wasn't the cold, it was the silence. Not the absence of noise. There were cars, trolleys, announcements, and chatter in accents. He was still learning, but a different kind of silence. The kind that comes when you leave everyone you know behind and realize that, for the first time in your life, nobody here knows your name. He gripped the handle of his suitcase tighter. New life, he whispered to himself. Samuel was 24 when he left Ghana. His mother cried quietly the night before he left, sitting on the edge of his childhood bed, folding his shirts even though they were already packed. "You will do well there," she said. "But remember who you are." He promised he would send money home, promised he would make something of himself, promised he would come back one day and build her the house she always dreamed of, with a blue roof and mango trees outside. The UK wasn't his dream. Stability was, and stability, everyone told him, was in care work. The UK always needed carers. It was honest, hard, and respectable work. He completed his training, passed background checks, secured a visa, and landed an entry-level care assistant job in a residential home for the elderly in Essex. It felt like winning the lottery. Rosewood Residential Home smelled like antiseptic and lavender air freshener. On his first day, the manager Claire walked him through the corridors. "You'll be shadowing for the first 2 weeks," she said. "Medication rounds are serious business. Documentation is serious business. Everything is documented." He nodded so many times his neck hurt. He was terrified of messing up, but the residents liked him. Mrs. Carter called him "my sunshine boy." Mr. Jennings made him promise to support Arsenal even though Samuel didn't watch football. Mrs. Khan asked about his family every morning. For the first time since arriving in the UK, he felt useful, like he belonged somewhere, but care work was harder than he ever expected. Double shifts, night shifts, staff shortages, constant alarms, buzzers and emergencies. By week 3, he was exhausted. By week 4, he was working alone on some medication rounds. He kept checking everything twice, then 3 times. Still, mistakes happen when humans are tired. And systems often assume humans will never be. It was a Tuesday night, understaffed, again. One senior carer had called in sick. Another left early with a migraine. Samuel and one agency worker were covering most of the floor. At 9 o'clock, it was time for the medication round. Samuel checked the chart. Room 14, Mr. David Hall. Blood pressure medication. Evening dose. He prepared the medication cup carefully. He knocked. Mr. Hall was half asleep, the TV flickering quietly. "Evening meds, sir," Samuel said softly. Mr. Hall nodded, barely awake, and swallowed the pills with water. Samuel documented it, signed his name, moved on. Simple routine, done. Except it wasn't Mr. Hall's medication, it was Mr. Hall's senior's medication. 2 residents, same last name, in adjacent rooms with nearly identical first initials. The medication was stronger, meant for someone with severe hypertension. The Mr. Hall Samuel gave it to had heart rhythm issues. At 2:17 in the morning, alarms screamed. Samuel ran. Mr. Hall was unconscious. Paramedics arrived. Oxygen monitors shouting. Samuel stood frozen in the hallway while nurses and paramedics filled the room. He kept thinking, did I sign the chart? Did I check the wristband? Did I? And then he knew. The chart. The names, the rooms. His stomach dropped like he was falling off a cliff. Mr. Hall survived, but he spent 2 weeks in the hospital. The care home reported the incident, safeguarding procedures, external investigation, police involvement. Samuel cooperated fully. He showed them everything. He told the absolute truth. I didn't check the wristband. I checked the chart and room number. I was rushing. I thought I was right. The police officer wrote everything down. No anger, no comfort. Just procedure, gross negligence. Not intentional harm, but criminal negligence. Samuel didn't even understand what was happening until his solicitor explained it slowly. You're not accused of wanting to hurt him, she said. But the law says certain jobs carry responsibilities where mistakes can become criminal if they put lives at serious risk. He nodded, completely numb. Then came the second part. If convicted, this could affect your immigration status. That was when he broke down. Not in court. Not at the police station, but alone in his tiny rented room, holding his mother's last voice note. The courtroom felt unreal. The prosecution spoke about procedure, duty of care, and preventable harm. The defense spoke about understaffing, training gaps, exhaustion, and system failures. Both were true. Samuel pleaded guilty to negligence. He said he was sorry, and he meant it more than words could ever hold. The sentence was 6 months in custody, with a possibility of a deportation review afterward. The judge looked directly at him. You are not a dangerous man, but this was a serious breach of trust in a vulnerable environment. Samuel nodded, tears already falling. Prison was loud, not physically violent, but emotionally crushing. He kept replaying that night. Every small decision, every second he rushed. He wrote letters to his mother, but didn't send most of them. How do you explain that one mistake might erase the entire reason you came here? He told her he was working. He told her he was fine. He told her he was saving money. Then one day he finally told the truth. Her reply came 2 weeks later. You made a mistake. You are still my son. We survive. That is what we do. He cried for hours after reading that. 3 months into his sentence, his solicitor visited. Mr. Hall asked about you, she said. Samuel stared at her, confused. He told investigators he doesn't want you deported. He said you were always kind to him. Samuel couldn't speak. Kindness, it felt so small compared to the damage he'd caused. 6 months later, he walked out carrying the same suitcase he'd arrived with, but he was not the same man. The deportation review was pending. He had to report weekly. He couldn't work in care again. Everything was uncertain. Waiting was worse than prison. At least prison had rules. Waiting was just fear. Then one afternoon, his solicitor called. The decision isn't final, but they're considering allowing you to stay under strict conditions. Samuel sat on the floor. He didn't even celebrate. He just breathed. For the first time in months, he started studying health administration instead. Still helping people, just further away from the place where one mistake could kill someone. He volunteered at community centers. He started sending money home again, smaller amounts, but honest ones. 5 years later, he stood outside a small house in Ghana. A blue roof, mango tree saplings in the yard. His mother stood in the doorway, smiling. He had not become the man he thought he would be, but he had survived. And sometimes, survival is its own kind of victory. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider sharing it. And if you're ever facing struggles that feel overwhelming, remember that help is available. There are resources in the description below. Please subscribe for more stories like this.